Here comes the wave of young, talented players for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and injury has forced this to happen. And I think now, with all the injuries, that Mike Tomlin has no choice but to play his younger talent that is sitting in wait on the roster. And it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. We could see a lot of growing pains. We could see an immediate response, an immediate impact from these guys. Let's start off offensively. You have Chuks Okorafor, who could be out, and now Dan Moore could slide over to the right tackle spot, but he had a subpar performance, in my opinion, at the left tackle spot on Sunday. So does that make way for a young Broderick Jones to be able to come in and prove and grow and show what he can do at the NFL level and be able to see what we have in Broderick now early and often? So that could happen very easily. Also, offensively, you have the injury to Deontay Johnson. We now have Calvin Austin in his second year. We didn't get to see him in his first year, but that's going to make way for more snaps for a player like Calvin Austin to be able to see him and see him grow and emerge and get some chemistry with Kenny Pickett. And this is only adding to the arsenal, guys. This isn't so detrimental that it's like blowing the whole team up, because with these players going out, they will return. I'm sure of that throughout the season. But this is allowing younger players on that offensive side of the ball to get in there, gain some continuity with their quarterback, Kenny Pickett, and be able to start gaining that trust from their quarterback and hopefully creating a better environment, a more together, a more cohesive unit. And that is only going to be a plus for the Steelers. We may not see it in the win and loss column right away, but I think that'll allow that offense to grow a little bit. Adding in the younger players, you're going to have to see more Darnell Washington. You're going to have to see more Connor Hayward. You're just going to have to see more of these players. When big-time players go down that are starters, you have to replace them with one or two young guys and get them in the fold and get them more snaps. So offensively, I think that could happen. There's not as many changes offensively as I think there will be some defensively due to injury. So, due to injury on that defensive side of the football, you have Cam Hayward out. Larry Ogunjobi looked hurt, guys. I know we've said that in prior podcasts the last couple of days. He looked probably 70%, in my opinion. He didn't look very good at all, especially after rewatching things and looking at what happened to that defensive front. They were gashed, and that was with Cam Hayward at times, Larry Ogunjobi. So what do the Steelers need to do now that you have those injuries to DeMarvin Leal and a Cam Hayward? You need to be able to start playing a guy like fourth round or whatever selection he was. I believe he was fourth round, third or fourth round, Keanu Benton, who had a good camp, who looks to be that next wave of defensive stars for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're going to allow him now and force the hand of Mike Tomlin to give that guy snaps along with Loudermilk, and let those guys maybe develop into the next wave of Steelers pass rush run stoppers. You need to be able to let those guys grow, and I think these injuries are going to create that opportunity. Cam Hayward is for sure out for several months, or 2 months probably, considering he's on IR, and hopefully these young guys can hold this down. You're going to have Montravius Adams there as the starter, but we already know what Montravius can do. So we need to see a Keanu Benton. We need to see more Loudermilk, and let those guys eat and let those guys grow as a defensive front and allow them to start incorporating some of them younger legs onto that defense. And Mike Tomlin is the type of coach, he doesn't want those rookies out there getting thrown to the fire right away. Well, bad news, Mike, your hand might be forced here. And I think it is going to prove to be hopefully a positive, at least for the future. And as I say, you may not see the dividends right away. It may not be something you see immediately on the stat sheet or the win-loss column, but you will eventually see some growth from these guys. And who knows, they may come out guns blazing and really be productive for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, also, you had in the backside of that backfield, our defensive backfield, you had a Pat P and a Levi Wallace who looked pedestrian, who didn't play up to the standard of what the Steelers are expecting from them this season. So that's going to open the door for Joey Porter Jr., who only got 7 snaps in the Steelers opener, But that was pretty pathetic. I think whenever you were getting torched the way they were, I think you need to get the young guy in there and let him learn, and let him get snaps against a quality opponent like the 49ers, and quit just wheeling out their guys that aren't producing. And I think now that the Steelers took that heavy loss, that they're going to have to play Joey Porter Jr. more. Who knows? He could be the starter come Monday night. It all depends on where the Steelers go and how they start to value these young guys and value their snaps. Also, what about a Desmond King? Maybe getting Desmond King now up to speed, mixing him in. I'm not saying he needs to be the answer or the starter in any way, shape, or form, but I'm saying get fresh legs in there at times. Don't give Pat P, Levi Wallace 60, 70 snaps in a ball game. Get Joey Porter and Desmond King in there. Allow them to be able to play and learn on the fly here a little bit. Well, Desmond King don't need to learn. He just needs to be more acclimated to the Steelers system. So get him some snaps out there and mixing in a Pat P and a Levi Wallace. And like I say, create those fresh legs. And I think that's where coaches go wrong a lot. They ride the hand that got them there, I guess, if you want to say that, the hand that they put in there first, the starters. They ride them to death. And then they have all these guys sitting on the bench. And this is at a lot of levels. And I know the talent level decreases. However, fresh legs could defeat a lot and keep things moving and keep the pace of your unit going and keep it moving, man. And it's just something that it really irritates me when I see tons of guys sitting on the bench, never getting a chance, never getting an opportunity, and they can play some ball. And they may not be that superstar fold, but you can get them in there and allow them to be able to grow and start to grow their game. That way, when there is an injury, there isn't such a drop off because these guys have already gotten snaps, already got play time. They already have gelled slightly with that unit, and they're aware of how that unit plays, and it's not so detrimental to the team when injuries happen. So I think Steeler fans, you're going to get to see now, and it's being forced by injury, Mike Tomlin allowing his younger, up and coming stars, per se, the next wave of Steelers talent, you're going to get to see them come in and early, and you're going to get to see them grow. And I think it could be positive and it could be negative. I don't think it's really going to be in the middle much. I think it could be a really good thing, or you're going to have to watch them grow and learn and take their lumps. So don't get devastated if the Steelers do go 0-2, 0-3 right out of the gate, allowing these younger guys to play. Because I think as the season progresses, this team is going to grow and gel and become a way better team. And if this team would see San Francisco, say week 17, this would be a different Steelers team, and it would probably be a different outcome. I'm not saying the Steelers would win, but I think it would be a more competitive matchup just due to the growth of an NFL team. All teams get beat bad. You've seen all these good dynasty teams. They've taken ass whoopings during the season and still were able to rebound and progress and grow and become a juggernaut by the end of the season and become really hard to beat. So fingers crossed, that's what's happening hopefully in the city of Pittsburgh. And I hope the fan base can be steady and not jump to just these crazy comments that they put on the internet. Fire Tomlin, Kenny's not it, all this bullshit. I think we need to slow our roll and pump our brakes a little bit. This is a long, long season in the NFL. This isn't college. This isn't high school. This is a long 18 game or 18 week season that, you know, has a lot of ups and downs. I mean, you put all these preseason games in there. You put all these regular season games in there. You got what? 20 some weeks of football, not counting playoffs. That is a long road to travel. That is a long path, man. And we have to be patient because there's going to be ebbs and flows, highs and lows. That's what it's going to be, guys. And we have to be patient as a fan base. We have to be patient as people who talk about the Steelers and realize that there is a growth process that happens during the season. And we need to wait and watch and see what happens before we jump the gun on and make crazy predictions of the Steelers falling apart or the Steelers, oh, they're going to do so well. We need to slow and pump our brakes. I know I'm at fault for that at times too, but we need to slow down, pump our brakes, and realize that the growth of the young players may be better for the Pittsburgh Steelers instead of having all them older players in there. Maybe it's time for the changing of the guard a little bit at some spots to where we're upgrading instead of downgrading. You never know. So until next time, keep on watching Mike Drop Sports, and we'll drop another episode tomorrow. So we'll see you then. Peace.